morning and happy Saturday, you guys. It is Amanda and Barron with Kicking Cancer Cares on KSLM Radio, 104.3 FM and 1220 AM. Our sponsor for this first half is Odd Moe's Pizza. Huge shout out to Mike. Thank you so much for supporting us since the very beginning. So some of their appetizers. I want to go over appetizers because I'm an appetizer girl. Through and through.
Potato poppers.
Any
Just
appetizer.
stop right there.
Wings, mozzarella sticks, all of the mozzarella or all of the appetizers at any place it's the first thing I look at. So I just want to go over some of their appetizers, which is cheesy garlic bread, bone-in wings, boneless wings, Mojo's.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Potato poppers, which I absolutely love, and chicken strips. And then they have also their pastas, 3 different kinds. They've got 3 different kinds of salads. And then their world-winning pizzas, at least in my view.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
actually won Best Willamette Valley.
And they won for wings, too.
Oh, my gosh, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Everything about their pizzas. I love the Reggie Veggie. I love the Green Monster. I love the barbecue chicken one.
Oh, that's my favorite.
I literally love every single
You made me
pizza
laugh so
there.
much last week because you mentioned that barbecue chicken pizza, and you said, what's the name of it? I said, it's called the barbecue chicken pizza.
And he was like, no, he doesn't just name them generic like that.
That's too simple to be called that.
Yes, no, you were wrong. The Bull Rider.
The Bull Rider.
There we go.
Yeah.
It is the Bull Rider. And then they have a garlic chicken one, and I think they do the white sauce on that one.
Yes, they do.
Oh, my Lord,
love the
that
white
one's
sauce.
phenomenal. And then they even have a Greek one, Jimmy the Greek.
Jimmy. Well, that is such a Mike thing to say, Jimmy the Greek.
It's my wife's favorite.
Is it?
Yeah.
You're obviously an Odd Moe's fan.
Oh, yes.
He's like, oh, yep, that one's good. Oh, yeah, that's a favorite. Mm-hmm, good one. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And for those that don't know, there is a third person in here waiting.
Yes,
We have
welcome,
Devon.
Thank you.
Well, I'm just going to shift gears a little bit. Usually we do the update a little bit later.
Yeah.
This is an exciting update.
Okay.
Next week, we are taking our show on the road. We're going to record live from the kitchen at Odd Moe's.
Yes.
We're going to record the show live.
I wonder if I can make them do like, instead of like a half a pizza of one flavor and the other, it's like, can we do quarters so that I can have a piece of every single flavor?
Yeah. Well, I did tell Mike, I said the biggest challenge is we want to tell the listeners what you're putting on the pizzas and why each of those things have value. And I said, you've been doing this for 30 years. You're going to have to slow down.
Yes.
Because he can make a pizza pretty fast.
We're not all masters.
No, he's really good. But I'm excited that our show is going to be, we've done a couple now.
Yeah.
Before we've gone on the road. We're going to go on the road to the kitchen of Odd Moe's Pizza.
I love it. Oh, I'm excited.
It'll be fun. Do you remember our guest last week? Elizabeth,
yes. And she went to Mexico for her treatments.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
What a crazy story. And this was 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. At age 36, she gets the diagnosis. They can't treat it with the chemo. And they're like, basically put her on hospice and send her home to die.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'm 36. I don't want to die. So she does some research and she finds this place in Mexico. And she goes as a total detox. You're going to love this, Devon. What they did, crazy stuff. They made her eat raw food, and they made her do some movement.
And that's it.
And in 3.5 months, she was cancer-free.
Our doctors put her on hospice and said, there's nothing else we can do. Go home and make yourself comfortable and say your goodbyes. And then she goes to Mexico and doesn't take any medications.
Nope.
She just changes her lifestyle.
She said the first couple weeks were really hard because she's detoxing all the stuff out of her system.
Absolutely.
But that was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And then it came back a couple years ago as colon, but she had to do anything because she was already getting her body back to where it should be.
Yeah.
So
that's just like a testimonial to eat healthy, eat right. Whether you have cancer or not, get ahead of that because what we eat feeds our body.
Yeah.
And what are we feeding our body?
Right. Well, we've had Devon on before. In fact, I went and checked. It was August the 31st last year.
Okay. Day after my birthday.
Yeah. So it's been almost a year. Well, just over a year ago that Devon was here before.
Yeah.
But, you know, what you said about feeding your body, I don't think there's a better person to talk about that than Devon.
Okay.
Feeding your body. Well, I have been going through our book with the stuff that we're supposed to be eating. And this week's is kale.
Oh, yes. I love kale chips.
Yeah, I was just going to say kale chips are my favorite.
I don't know about kale raw, but kale chips with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper.
Salt, yep.
It's unbelievable. what a little bit of kale and seasoning does. Okay, sorry, go ahead. I haven't
No,
had
it's
that
okay
in a long
because
time.
there's been several of these we've talked about that I have been a big fan of.
Okay.
Or I should say you have been a big fan of, and
Yeah.
kale is not one of my favorites, and I'm trying to learn to love it, so I'm all for ideas.
Okay.
But here's what the magazine says about why it's a disease fighter. So you need to think cruciferous vegetables.
Yep.
And that's what all those greener things are.
Broccoli, spinach.
Yep. And the reason, by the way, Brenda educated me this, the reason they're called cruciferous is if you look at the picture, they kind of look like a cross.
Oh, okay.
I never knew that.
So
Okay.
like cross.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So beyond this magic anti-inflammatory sulfur compounds, kale also nets you a lot of vitamins A and K, essential to preserve bone health and healthy circulation. And this power veggie is a secret weapon in the fight against cardiovascular disease.
Yep.
Wow.
In studies, kale juice reduced bad cholesterol and raised good cholesterol levels. That's a win-win.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do know that it was a couple of years ago. It wasn't kicking cancer yet, but it was kind of that birthing stage of do what we were trying to do.
Right.
And Dr. Isaacson in town is my chiropractor, and I'm working out for these Spartan races, and I expected the muscles to hurt, except the joints were hurting. Mm-hmm. And I went in, and you know what he said to me? How many dark green vegetables are you eating?
Right.
Which is such interesting advice.
Yeah. You probably were thinking of like a medication or something different than that direction. And then you started eating greens and...
Yeah. Well, I'm always a fan of kale, so I did spinach instead.
Yeah.
But he says, here's my prescription. Go have a salad.
I love it.
And within a day and a half, all of the joint pains were gone.
Isn't that funny?
Now, what I do know is Devon's going to weigh in on a couple different topics, but he does personal training, and I'm sure that he has some ideas as to why this is so powerful.
Yeah.
What would you be telling your clients about the kale?
I mean, as it said, anti-inflammatory, which is huge. And if we can clear out inflammation in the body, it's going to help with recovery. It's going to help with the muscle soreness, the aches, the pains, the joint, soreness, all of that good stuff. So I always try to have my clients incorporate up to 1 cup of veggies with just about every meal that they have.
Yep. Absolutely. And kale, I don't know if you're doing it wrong, but you're supposed
Probably.
to take out like this. Is it this? It's been so long since I've cooked it, but I think you're supposed to take out that center piece that can be tough and then bake them. So I would try it again. Or
Okay.
maybe you know what? I think I'm going to make some for my boys because they're in football and that's a great snack. So I will bring you some.
A little bit of
Okay.
honey, too.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a game changer. So all the same things, little olive oil, sea salt, and then just drizzle a little bit of honey at the
Oh
very
my
end.
gosh. Maybe even some red pepper flakes.
There you go.
Yeah, your dinner's all figured out
Or
now.
you could use that hot honey.
Okay.
See?
Done.
You got some ideas now, don't you?
It's what
Yes.
happens when a foodie becomes a fitness coach. you find ways to make bad things taste good. I shouldn't say
Yes.
bad things. Things that most people don't enjoy taste good.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, what I really want to get into with Devon was how he and I met and some of the things we've done together over the last couple of years. But kind of a sad timing thing. It was roughly a year ago, and Jason and Devon and I are both wearing these shirts in his memory.
Okay.
It was a very good friend of Devon's that passed away, didn't he?
Yeah, so, great friend of my in-laws, and I would always go whenever they'd play golf and things like that. I'd go with them, but he was around often and just very vibrant person, always great smile, never in a bad mood, even when things weren't going his way. And so it sucks when somebody like that is no longer here, because he was definitely a shining light for a lot of the people around him.
Oh, sad.
Yeah. I vividly remember, again, Devon and I will get deeper into this, but things that we'd done together with golf tournaments, and he was on our board of directors, and I was actually at a golf hole in Albany getting set up when I was working for Serpro, and I get this call from Devon, and he's like, I got this friend, can we do a go team? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know how this thing works. And so I said, what do we do? Well, it became pretty apparent that golf was a thing that Jason loved to do, and so we were golfing in October just for Jason,
I like it.
and he didn't make it till the tournament.
Oh.
Yeah.
He declined very rapidly. So that was roughly a year ago.
Okay.
And we just wanted to,
So honoring him today with your shirts.
Yeah.
I love that.
well, and honoring him with our shirts, but conversely, both you and Ashlie.
Yes.
So you have a purple shirt as well, and this is honoring one.
Coming.
Yeah.
Come.
So this is honoring one of our founding board members.
Yes.
Faye DeMeyer was there when this idea was coming off the ground, and we had to have a board to get this thing off the ground. And Faye was like, "Yep, I'm there.
Always. She
I'll be the
was
president of the
always
board."
Oh yeah.
And she lost her battle with pancreatic cancer as
Yeah.
well. So we're wearing purple for different reasons.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of purple in the room.
Yeah,
today.
and you want
I
to
love
talk
it.
about a beacon, man. Faye was definitely a light in the community.
She
was
was.
such a great person.
Just a pillar for our community,
Oh, yeah.
truly.
Yeah.
She was a tough loss for us.
Yeah. Well, again, board members of any organization kind of come and go, and there was a spot that came open on the board. Devon and I were part of a mutual networking group, and I reached out and I said, well, first we sat down together with what I'm doing and what he does, and I guess I should back up. What do you do, Devon?
Yeah.
Let me back up. What do you do, Devon?
Professionally, because I do a lot of things.
What don't you do, Devon?
I was gonna say, pizza and cookie connoisseur is definitely at the top of the list.
Yes.
But when we're talking professional,
Let's go a little higher than that.
a little bit higher than that is I am the director of marketing and public relations for Salem Audiology Clinic here in Salem. We have 3 locations: north, south, and in Woodburn.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we were in this networking group together. It's like, well, how can I help you? How can you help me? So we sit down together, and I had never really made this connection with audiology and cancer, but you educated me. Mm-hmm. So you want to jump on that a little bit?
Yeah, Barron and I got together for they call it a one-to-one, but basically just a meeting to get to better know the people that are within your group, and we were kind of trying to feel each other out. How can I help further your business, and how can I help further your business? And it seemed like 2 businesses that probably couldn't be any further apart ended up having a really common connection, and that is that many people don't know that cancer treating drugs can cause hearing loss. And so it's very important for those that decide to go that route, whether it be chemotherapy or any other type of cancer treating therapy, that they get a baseline hearing test done. So prior to their first treatment or around their first treatment, going in to make sure that they can see where their hearing levels are at, so that at the end or even during the duration of the treatments, they can see if there's any decline.
Yep.
Because the last thing you want to have is to come out of treatment and be cured or be in a better position, but then now you feel secluded because you can't hear. Mm-hmm. So,
And insurance will help cover those costs if it's related to cancer and if you have that baseline. So I think that's important to.
Well,
make
and
sure
one of the things
get
that you educated me on is if you get that baseline and you're in a car crash and your airbags deploy, it's equivalent to like a shotgun.
about a shotgun. Yep.
Oh,
But now you can
In
go,
your ear.
Yeah.
wow.
Shotgun right here.
Yeah.
Right? So you have this baseline, and you're in a car crash. Well, then you go to your insurance company and go, look, I have to have hearing aids because of the car crash. Mm-hmm. So you have evidence to prove it. You can use that same kind of evidence when it comes to the cancer.
Yep. And same for work. If it's done and you go back to work after the treatment or whatever the case may be, and you're in a job that is a louder type of job, if there's anything that may cause down the road issues to your hearing, then it definitely comes into play, and you can say, hey, being at this job did cause this.
So it's kind of good for just everybody across the board to get a baseline, it sounds like.
Yeah, we always recommend if you're somebody that's in an industrial job or any type of job that is loud, definitely get one. But just in general, it's a great idea to have a baseline hearing test so that at age 30, at age 28, 35, 40, where your hearing's at, so that by the time you are 55, 60, hearing loss doesn't happen overnight. Usually it's a slower decline, so most people don't notice it until everybody else around them notices it.
Yeah.
So to have a baseline and say, oh, okay, I do see some decline, comes in really handy in more reasons than one.
Okay.
Well, I think it would be really important right now to tell people, where do you find
Yeah.
Salem Audiology?
Yeah.
Definitely.
How do we find you guys?
Yes, so you can find us online at salemaudiologyclinic.com, or if you are in town, you can find us on the corner of Boone and Kubler, right where the new Costco, Starbucks, and Crumble Cookie are. In Northeast, we are right across from McKay High School in the little business buildings right there. And then in Woodburn, we are on Evergreen Street, just right behind the Walgreens.
Okay,
Off
perfect.
the exit. So pretty easy for all 3 locations.
Great description of exactly where all of them are.
Easy to find, right?
Visually saw them instead of just spitting out an address.
You would think he does marketing or something.
Right?
That was great. That was great.
Well, as it turned out, a spot came open on our board of directors, and it was actually the education director that was open. And I'm like, oh my gosh, would you join the board of directors? And we went through the whole process, and Devon was on the board of directors for a little while. You know, life happens, and he has 2 young kids, and
I get it.
Busy. But when he left the board, he has stayed on as our golf tournament director. So he's always been part of the staff and what I call the advisory board.
Yeah.
And he really helped us take those golf tournaments to higher and higher and higher levels. We went from one okay tournament to one really good tournament to 2 tournaments to 3 tournaments. And that's really all an attestament to what he's done.
Absolutely.
With the board.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I want to circle back to Jason, though, and that phone call you made to me. It was July of last year that I get the call. And it's really interesting because I get this call quite often, you know. Here's the situation that's going on. And my first question is always, how can we help?
Yeah.
What can we do? Now that we have some protocols in place, I'm like, Devon, man, we want to help. But you got to go to the website, you got to do this button, you got to fill the form out,
Right.
which he did. Honor Jason's memory. Tell us some more about Jason, who he was as a person, and really how fast that cancer took him down.
Yeah, so when I had called you, they had gotten news that it was already rapidly progressing. I believe he got his first diagnosis around April of that year, and by July it was already, in a really bad spot. And I reached out because I knew that he had gotten that prognosis. I believe that's the correct word. And I remember just asking my father-in-law, hey, how's Jason doing? And I remember just his face, the look that he had, and he said, not good. No longer at work. They had just had their second child within that year, I believe, or so. Mm. So 2 kids, a wife. They moved from Ohio. He was on his way up in, a really good company. Things were going really well for him. He loved the outdoors. He was somebody that just always wanted to be around friends, always wanted friends to be around, and just wanted to, spend time with friends and family. And so to see something like that happen to somebody that's so good of a person just really hurt. And as soon as I found out that it was progressing at the rate that it was, and that it probably was not going to end well, and more so just a matter of how long, that's when I reached out to his wife and I said, hey, what if I could put something together for Jason that would honor him, that we could, potentially do on a yearly basis, because I was thinking long term, what would that be? And she said, aside from camping, hiking, and fishing, Jason absolutely loved to golf. And that's when I was like, well, we just did 2 of these. Yeah, that I know how to do. So I reached out to Barron, and that's kind of where things kind of got the ball rolling from there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And what's really cool about this shirt is a lot of the Backspur shirts have different things on them. His company, Pacific Stare, is on the back of the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
And then it also has BI Steel, which is a vendor, I guess, a vendor that they utilize. Mm-hmm. And so all of these people knew Jason from his work. And, they could just sit and write a check to give to his wife, or they could donate it to a nonprofit, and then we could write her a check, and they got a write-off. And I remember we get the day of the tournament. There were so many people wearing purple shirts that day.
I think almost everybody. There was one, maybe 1 or 2.
And they just stuck out like a sore thumb, like you missed the memo. You messed up.
We tucked them in the back for the photo, so you could just see shoulders up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we also do a really cool polo shirt, and it's embroidered here, and it's a really nice polo that you could wear like a work shirt, right?
Yeah.
People do that all the time with their companies, and so we did one, but then again, it's a customized. So it had honoring Jason Mowry on the polo, and a lot of them wore that shirt.
That's
and
awesome.
Even now, this year, whenever his team shows up, whenever when the players of the tournament show up, they're still wearing their purple shirts.
Oh, I
they're
love
still
that.
on his memory.
They're still golfing in his memory.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good for them.
The other really interesting thing that happened at that tournament, and I think you had to leave a little early, but we had the luncheon afterwards. The first time I met his widow was actually at the tournament.
Okay.
And we go in for the lunch, and something very intriguing happened. Now, I know within a lot of the native tribes, they do this on a regular basis. As somebody in the tribe passes away, and the whole community will come in together, and they'll take everything they own, and they'll distribute it out from the whole community.
Okay.
And it kind of helps the community heal from the death of that person.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have a loved one that dies, and we kind of memorialize the room. We leave trophies and pictures up, but it also reminds us all the time. Well, right at the end of the lunch thing, they brought Jason's golf clubs out.
Oh, wow.
And they said, anyone that would like a memory of Jason, come get what you want.
Oh, wow.
So someone took his glove, and someone took his putter, and someone took his driver.
That's
and they
cool.
all took something of Jason home.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, that was so powerful that I was wearing this shirt one day, a couple weeks ago in the community, and this guy recognizes the shirt and comes up to me and he says, I was at that tournament and I still have Jason's glove.
That's cool. How powerful.
Yeah. My father-in-law still uses his 3-wood.
I was just going to say, and then
Yeah.
they're golfing with his clubs and stuff, just truly keeping his memory alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
really awesome.
we do this in Staten at Sandy M Golf Course, and we did the first annual Jason Mowry Memorial Tournament this July.
Okay.
And they showed up again.
I love that. That's
So
cool.
we just wanted to keep his memory alive.
Yeah, and continue to keep it alive.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to bring up and it's going to weigh more heavily in the second half of the show, but Devon and I were sitting talking about his job and, the hearing loss caused neuropathy from the chemo. But I want to get into a discussion about a very legal, addictive drug that we consume way too much.
Way too much.
Called sugar.
Yes.
And when I developed out the things with Kickin'Cancer, I found this report, and it's actually from the Diabetes Association. And it says 1 in 10 in the world currently have type 2 diabetes.
That's a lot of people.
And if you have type 2 diabetes, it doubles your chances of pancreatic cancer.
Oh, wow.
Because your pancreas is designed to filter sugar, and we're pushing too much sugar through our body.
Yeah.
Except Devon educated me that type 2 diabetes also causes...
Doubles your chances of hearing loss.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
My goodness.
So sugar could cause diabetes, and if you have diabetes, it doubles your chances of hearing loss.
And it's so addictive. Like, people actually go through withdrawals when they get off of it. Like a true drug.
Oh yeah,
It's bizarre.
it is the most legal and addictive drug that we probably have on our market right now.
I would say that and caffeine.
Yeah,
Yes.
But sugar definitely is.
and then you put the sugar in the caffeine.
Right? Yeah. Double up.
Little
Let's leave
sugar in
the
the caffeine.
caffeine out of it, you guys. Okay, I'm feeling
Hey,
slightly
I'm right there. I'm right there with
We
you.
both have our coffee over
Right,
here. So
yeah.
Okay, we got a coffee over here.
I can't let go of the coffee
Oh.
quite yet.
Well, I really want to dive into this more heavily in the second half of the show because we're almost out of time. And I've done this demonstration I've really been honored to be asked to come to several schools in this city and show this demonstration to the high school kids. And it is really eye-opening when you can actually see how much sugar is in very basic products that we consume. And how addictive it truly is.
Yeah.
And we're going to dive deeper into that in the second half of the show.
Okay.
But you know what else is addictive?
Pizza.
Oddmost Pizza.
It is addictive. My goodness. So you guys, if you're looking for something easy to do, you don't want to cook, you just want to enjoy this day and sit on your couch, you can call Oddmost Pizza and they actually deliver to you. So I'm going to go through some of their pizzas. Okay, they've got just a cheese pizza. That's one of my nephew's absolute favorites.
Basic cheese.
Yep. They have the lineman, which is like a combo pizza. The Reggie Veggie, it's a garlic veggie pizza. That one's one of my favorites. The Sweet Spot, which is like a Hawaiian pizza. That's my husband's favorite.
That's mine.
Is it your favorite?
Oh, yeah. Pineapple does belong on pizza.
It does not, but that's okay.
Yeah. And a little bit of bacon goes on.
It does not.
Well, and I've got one more shout out to Mike before we go to commercials. So
Okay.
you go ahead and finish.
They have the Power Forward, which is a garlic combo pizza. I'm not sure I've had that one yet, and that sounds amazing.
And garlic is the most powerful anti-cancer food you can get.
It is.
Garlic is, yeah.
They got the classic veggie pizza. They've got the Grand Salami, which is like an all-meat pizza. That one looks really good. The Big Juan, which is a taco-style
Yep.
pizza. That one's a good
Gotta
one.
have a fork.
You do.
Gotta
That
have a
one's a
fork.
good one. And then they have the garlic chicken pizza, the barbecue chicken, which is the bull rider, and then the Jimmy Greek green monster, and then the all-natural vegan pizza. So they have vegan options too as well. And then their huge, deep Chicago pie pizza, of course. So
well, my last shout out to Mike before we go to commercial is after we did this golf tournament last year, we had this idea, and we just thought it was a fun idea, right? It's a play on words. It's the J for J, just for Jason, the J for J IPA.
Oh, yep.
That was an idea last year, but guess what Mike made happen?
Just that.
The J for J IPA does exist, and it is the most popular IPA that Sandy Bruin's ever made.
Oh, wow.
Yep. He's made a lot of IPAs for Odd Mo's, but this one actually sold out twice.
Oh, wow.
Because Devon had this idea. Why not create it? It's called a J for J IPA, and Mike made it happen.
I love it. Thank you, Mike, for all that you do.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. You guys stay tuned.